Hey everyone, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as a thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. All right, folks, we got to take a look at the charts because we're seeing some really good price action. The reversal is happening right now. Bitcoin is over $66,000 once again. It looks like we've hit the bottom. And you guys know we've been tracking the sentiment, the oversold conditions for Bitcoin over the past couple of weeks, and we're seeing the movement out of that. The natural cyclical pattern that when you are in extreme oversold conditions and extreme fear and masses, Jim Cramer calling for the death of Bitcoin and much more, this is what happens, or you have that counter trend rally. So as we talked about per the textbook, Bitcoin's RSI was in the extreme oversold zone. And a good sign here on the daily chart, the MACD has flipped bullish. So there's a bullish cross and the bulls are gaining momentum. Very good sign. So how high will we go? Well, similar to the previous rally that we had coming off the February lows, I think this is another relief rally. I don't believe this is a move to new all-time highs. Now, when you zoom out from the macro, obviously this could be the start of a longer trend rally as we slowly grind and then we get back into that speculative phase. But I don't think that's happening anytime soon. But as I've been telling you guys, I'm buying the dip. I'm putting some into my long-term hold bag. I'm swing trading this rally. So I believe altcoins are going to follow Bitcoin. Now, if you look at the higher time frame of the weekly chart, here's something that's very bullish, guys. This is per the textbook. We see a bullish divergence forming on the weekly RSI, similar to what we saw in the 2022 bottom, guys. So it's possible that the bottom is in, but also markets can fake us out. So notice I said possible. I'm not saying it's guaranteed because we're talking probabilities here. Bitcoin could roll over and test some more lows. It could go to 48K, right? For all we know, or it could just retest some lows before going higher. But that weekly RSI is looking good, guys. I know it's a little bit early, but I like what I'm seeing here. This is a very strong case for the bulls here. So I'm going to continue to monitor this. I will continue to put it in a newsletter. Today I put out a write-up, so make sure you're subscribed to the newsletter. It's 100% free. So things are looking very nice here. Now on the monthly chart, no major change, but as I've been highlighting for months now, the RSI in the monthly chart is at levels we saw at the previous cycle bottoms. So don't be surprised if this thing reverses in the coming months and we start to move higher. Obviously on the higher time frame, things are not going to move as fast, but this is where you go to the lower time frame of the daily and weekly chart. So guys, I think Bitcoin's going to rally. I think some alts are going to pop off. Many of their charts look bullish, XRP, Solana, and more. And as we've been talking about for a while, we wanted to look at the stock market, to pay attention to the stock market, because I've seen it time and time again. I think the market makers in the crypto market, they look at the stock market for weakness or for bullishness or strength, and they kind of time things around that. And often Bitcoin and the crypto market are the canary in the coal mine where, it starts getting very volatile and bearish ahead of the stock market, which may be in the process of getting bearish, right? And, we were talking about how low would the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ go? We look at their RSI and we have a V-shaped recovery happening. Now, that doesn't mean it can't reject from certain price points and go lower, right? But we are seeing some really good signs here with this RSI moving back up and the price obviously moving back up, and the MACD shows the bears are losing momentum. And then if you look at the NASDAQ chart, which is a little bit more correlated to crypto, as far as the tech sector, it's showing a lot of strength. In fact, the bulls are in control here on the NASDAQ, and its RSI is touching the overbought zone, but obviously these indexes can go very high before they top out. So I like what I'm seeing here, guys. This is a lot of cases on the bull side. Now, as always, no guarantees. We're looking at probabilities and we have to let the market play out because markets can certainly fake us out. We've seen that time and time again, but we're looking for clues. We're looking for breadcrumbs here. And like I said, I think the strongest one is this weekly bullish divergence looking really, really good. And on the sentiment side of things, the fear and greed index is still in extreme fear. That's very good. That bodes well for the rally. Now, Bitcoin is moving away from the cheap zone. So we talked about it hitting the cheap zone. This is a chart, by the way, from Crypto Currently, Analyst Crypto Currently. And this is relative to the all-time high of 126,000. So we had the big correction. So it's back in the cheap zone. So let's see how this continues to play out. The Bitcoin MVRV is starting to move back up. So on the from a 30-day perspective, it's heading to the neutral zone, and we still have room to run here before it becomes overheated. So it shows this rally still has room to go, which is a very good sign. And you have a very strong narrative. There's reports that the deal with Iran has been completed. So maybe we're heading back to peace, the Strait of Hormuz opening up, right? Now, I know some of you are going to say, Tony, are you crazy? This has been reported like 39 times over the past couple months. I know. But the point is, the narrative is here, and whether it's going to last, I don't know. Maybe things go back into a bad place, but obviously I don't want that, right? I think many of us want this war to be over, but you never know. And this is where, again, no guarantees, but we're looking at probabilities. But a lot of things are lining up here for the bulls. And this is interesting. Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase, he posted yesterday that he's bullish as ever on Bitcoin and still long as always. He says it's never as good or bad as it seems. And he posted a chart of the Bitcoin 4-year cycles. He even posted a video. It's not really worth playing because he just repeated what he said in the tweet. So he said he thinks the bottom may be in as well, or we're very close. He's obviously not guaranteeing, but I think based on the metrics, and I know Brian is not one to do hyperbole or, want to play games. I think he's a CEO of a publicly traded company. So he's not going to go out there and make all these outlandish statements and so forth. And he's usually calm and cool and collected when it comes to these things. So I do value his perspective and his opinion. So I think he might be on point here, again, based on the chart. I'm validating his statements with the chart, and it looks good. And we continue to see a lot of dip buying. So Michael Saylor Strategy has acquired 1,587 Bitcoin for approximately $100 million. And their reserve now holds 846,842 Bitcoin. Bitmine, which is led by Tom Lee, continues to buy as well. They've added 76,881 ETH over the past week. This is crazy. The company now holds 5.62 million ETH. Wow. So these guys keep buying. And obviously the ETFs are seeing incredible inflows. And as you guys know, SpaceX just went public on Friday. And the most important part of that from a crypto perspective is that they were holding Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So they become the largest company on the public markets to hold Bitcoin as a treasury reserve and not as a business model, right? Not what Saylor and some of these guys are doing. Simply a company that has solutions and products and much more, doing incredible things, and they're earning their revenue, and they're taking some of the cash and holding Bitcoin. So this is significant, and I think it will have an impact on more companies doing this as they go public, because obviously the largest IPO in the history of the markets, and they're holding over 18,000 Bitcoin, which is incredible. And we continue to see the big Wall Street players like BlackRock continue to innovate. So BlackRock will launch their Bitcoin Premium Income ETF tomorrow. So that's going live. Here's what Eric Balchunas, senior ETF analyst at Bloomberg, had to say. The iShares Bitcoin Premium Income ETF, BITA, is launching tomorrow, Tuesday, June 16th, confirmed by NASDAQ. Also, the ETF will target 15 to 25% annual yield while trying to capture at least 70% of Bitcoin's upside in the process. So these are all great signs. They will attract more capital into the asset class. And we're seeing a lot of ETF and investment vehicles being launched across the globe, guys. And obviously BlackRock has the biggest for Bitcoin, that is. It has been the fastest growing. And while there have been inflows and outflows, the ebbs and flows of the market, overall, the total supply being held is growing, right? So it's pretty incredible. Okay, folks, quick word from our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by BitGo, the trusted infrastructure behind the digital asset economy. If you're serious about crypto, whether you're an investor, institution, or building in this space, you already know security, compliance, and execution are everything. And that's exactly what BitGo delivers. With over a decade of experience and 5,500 plus institutional clients across 100 plus countries, BitGo provides a full suite of services, including qualified custody, trading, staking, financing, and stablecoin infrastructure, all in one platform. Let's break it down. Want to launch crypto services fast? BitGo's Crypto as a Service lets banks, fintechs, and platforms go live in as little as a couple of months without dealing with complex licensing or infrastructure. If you're looking to launch a stablecoin, BitGo offers a complete stablecoin as a service platform from reserves and smart contracts to compliance, built to align with the new US regulatory framework that is the Genius Act. Want to earn rewards on your crypto? BitGo runs one of the largest institutional staking platforms with tens of billions staked across 50 plus networks, all while your assets stay securely in qualified custody. Need deep liquidity and execution? Their trading platform aggregates liquidity across 30 plus venues, giving you better pricing and the ability to trade directly from custody. No pre-funding required for approved clients. And if you need capital, BitGo offers crypto-backed financing, so you can unlock liquidity without selling your assets. So here's the bottom line. BitGo is one of the first federally chartered digital asset infrastructure companies offering regulated, insured custody and a platform built for institutions, but accessible to forward-thinking players across the space. So whether you're scaling a fintech, managing a fund, or building the future of finance, BitGo gives you all the tools that you need to do this securely, compliantly, and at scale. So learn more at bitgo.com and see why the biggest players in crypto trust BitGo. Okay, moving ahead, we got some big news from around the globe regarding crypto. So Zimbabwe introduces its first crypto regulations requiring crypto firms to register with the central bank or face prosecution. Now, we've been talking a lot about this for years, that every country will introduce their crypto regulations. And if they were to ban crypto, they would be writing their economic death sentence. And it's clear the direction the puck is heading in, that the future markets, economies, and governments will all run on blockchain rails. So everybody's on board. I'm sure they all meet at Davos, and the IMF and the BIS give them their marching orders, right? We all know how it works, right, guys? So this is the future. They're going to put all assets on chain, and you're going to have 24/7 markets. You're going to have assets be put to work that have been sitting idly with no liquidity, but now if they become tokenized, markets are created around them. So it's incredible to see all of these things being set up. And going back to my thesis, I've been harping on that you have all these on-ramps being set up. You have all this legislation being introduced and coming into place. Once we hit the next bull cycle, I believe it kicks off the super cycle because you have the legislation in place, not just in the US, but in many countries around the world. And look at this. Taiwan's central bank meets with the Bitcoin Policy Institute to discuss adopting Bitcoin as a reserve asset. So I believe the United States will eventually put into law to establish this Bitcoin reserve. And I believe a lot of countries are going to follow suit, guys. Again, they all know what the plan is. Again, they all meet at Davos. The IMF is on board, the BIS and all these folks are on board. It's just a matter of time. This is where you got to have the macro view on this asset class. I've often stated there's some Bitcoin I'm never going to sell. It will go to my daughter, things like that, because this technology is here to stay. This is going to power the future of the economy moving forward. All right, moving ahead, Ethena Labs will allocate $250 million to Securitize's tokenized AAA CLO fund as the product goes live on Solana. So many of you know Securitize, they are the company that is helping many institutions to go on chain via tokenized assets. They help BlackRock to do that. BlackRock invested in them, and they're going to go public soon. I'm not sure exactly when, but they've been talking about it doing it via SPAC. And it's amazing that they're getting this huge amount of investment into their tokenized fund. And it's going live on Solana. So again, you want to pay attention to which blockchains are getting adopted and make sure you hold those respective tokens. And look at this. Exodus and Ondo Finance launched Exodus Markets, bringing 200 plus tokenized stocks, ETFs, and RWAs to Solana. So I hold both Ondo and Solana in my portfolio. So these are, again, are the things to pay attention to. And speaking of Ondo, tokenization mirrors the $20 trillion ETF boom as blockchain and AI converge, Ondo executive says. So tokenization is laying the groundwork for autonomous investing and real-time portfolio management. This is coming from Ondo's new head of portfolio products, John Hoffman. So obviously Ondo is leading the charge here in many ways regarding tokenization. And what John says here with autonomous investing and real-time portfolio management, that's what's coming. You're going to have an AI agent managing your portfolio. I think RIAs and wealth managers eventually are going to be phased out. Don't get me wrong, not all of them, obviously, but a lot of that it's going to be taken over by AI agents who can do this 24/7. They don't have to eat or sleep. They don't have other things to do. They can just lock in on your portfolio. So just think about that, right? That's going to be a huge, huge deal. And I'm looking into those things right now, how I can get involved, whether it's personally or to bring value to you guys. So stay tuned on for details on those things. Now, folks, that's the news. Let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't as yet. As mentioned, please subscribe to my free email newsletter. It is 100% free. I put out a write-up today, so check it out, guys. I don't spam. I do one update per week, and usually it goes out on Mondays, and it includes crypto news and different data and metrics and much more. So stay up to date, and this is a great way to learn. You want to follow and go deeper and take your time and go through some of the data and the charts. This is the vehicle to do it, so check it out. And be sure to grab a copy of my book. It's available on Amazon. It's available in paperback and digital. And check out my course at mycryptocourse.com. This is a comprehensive course that teaches you everything you need to know about crypto. It features expert commentary, which no other crypto course offers. And right now we got a huge sale going on. Get 50% off the price of the course by using the code BEAR, BEAR, at checkout. So go to mycryptocourse.com to learn more. All the links will be in the description. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.